Imagine a conflict so vast it touched nearly every continent, redrew borders, collapsed empires, and set the stage for the modern world. Over 70 million lives lost, cities leveled to dust, and an entirely new global order established, all in just 6 years. Welcome to World War II, Causes, Battles, and Consequences, where we explore how this monumental event unfolded, what ignited it, what could have been, and why it continues to shape our lives today. To understand World War II, we must first revisit the Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919 after the First World War. While it officially ended World War I, it also sowed the seeds for the Second. Germany, humiliated and crippled economically, was forced to accept full responsibility for the war, pay enormous reparations, and surrender territory. Historian A.J.P. Taylor once noted that the treaty did not make another war inevitable, but it made it probable. Germany's democratic Weimar Republic struggled, opening the door for extremism. By 1933, Adolf Hitler, an Austrian-born war veteran, rose to power promising revival, revenge, and restoration of national pride. Meanwhile, across the globe, fascism surged. Benito Mussolini marched Italy toward imperialism. Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931, and later China in 1937, aiming to dominate Asia. But Hitler's Germany was the epicenter. Rebuilding the military, annexing Austria in 1938, the Anschluss, and then claiming Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia, Hitler tested the world's limits. Britain and France, haunted by World War I memories, pursued appeasement. They hoped that giving in to some demands would prevent greater war. In 1939, Hitler signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact with the Soviet Union. Non-aggression with a secret deal to split Poland. Then on September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war. World War II had begun. Germany introduced the world to blitzkrieg, or lightning war, using rapid movements of tanks, aircraft, and infantry. Within weeks, Poland fell. In 1940, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and France were overrun. France capitulated in just 6 weeks, a stunning blow to the Allies. Hitler then aimed for Britain. The Battle of Britain, fought in the skies, became the first major campaign fought entirely by air forces. Despite bombings and near-constant raids, the British Royal Air Force held firm. As Winston Churchill famously said, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." In June 1941, Hitler broke his pact with Stalin and launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest land invasion in history. It was a brutal, scorched earth campaign. Millions of Soviet civilians and soldiers died. But Hitler underestimated both the Russian winter and Soviet resilience. Historian Richard Overy describes this front as the crucible of the war. Indeed, over 80% of German casualties would occur on the Eastern Front. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor. The next day, the United States entered the war. As President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared, it was a date which will live in infamy. Japan expanded swiftly through Southeast Asia, but key battles like Midway in 1942 reversed the tide. The U.S., using code-breaking, ambushed and sank 4 Japanese aircraft carriers. The Battle of Stalingrad from 1942 to 1943 marked a turning point in the East. The Soviet Red Army encircled and destroyed the German Sixth Army. It was the beginning of the German retreat. In North Africa, the Battle of El Alamein saw British forces, under Montgomery, push back Rommel's Afrika Korps. The Allies then invaded Italy in 1943, forcing Mussolini from power. On June 6, 1944, the Allies launched Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history. D-Day saw over 150,000 Allied troops land on the beaches of Normandy. It marked the start of Nazi Germany's final downfall. By May 1945, Soviet troops captured Berlin. Hitler committed suicide in his bunker. Germany surrendered on May 8, 1945. Victory in Europe Day. But in the Pacific, Japan fought on. After bloody battles at Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and with no sign of surrender, the U.S. dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August. Days later, Japan surrendered. World War II was over. History is also shaped by what didn't happen. Operation Sea Lion, Germany's planned invasion of Britain, was postponed and ultimately abandoned after the Luftwaffe's failure in the Battle of Britain. Operation Tannenbaum, Hitler considered invading Switzerland, but never acted due to the challenging terrain and limited strategic value. Japan's Soviet ambitions. Japan had border skirmishes with the USSR in 1939, but chose not to engage again. Had they invaded Siberia while Germany attacked from the west, the Soviet defense could have crumbled. The Nazi nuclear project. Germany tried to develop atomic weapons, but internal conflict and lack of resources hindered progress. Historian Richard Rhodes suggests that if Germany had succeeded, the war could have ended very differently. World War II reshaped the globe in profound and lasting ways. The United Nations was formed in 1945 to replace the failed League of Nations and prevent future global wars. The Cold War began almost immediately as the uneasy alliance between the US and Soviet Union fractured, giving rise to decades of ideological and nuclear tension. The creation of Israel in 1948 followed the Holocaust and global support for a Jewish homeland, triggering lasting geopolitical shifts in the Middle East. The Marshall Plan helped rebuild war-torn Europe, preventing the spread of communism and laying the groundwork for European unity. The war weakened European powers, accelerating decolonization. India, Indonesia, and dozens of African nations would gain independence over the next 2 decades. The Nuremberg trials held Nazi leaders accountable and sparked the Human Rights Revolution, leading to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. And finally, the nuclear age began. The atomic bomb changed warfare forever, and the arms race shaped international relations for the rest of the 20th century. World War II was not just a war of tanks and trenches. It was a war of ideologies, of industrial might, of unimaginable cruelty and unprecedented cooperation. It tore the world apart, and in doing so, laid the foundation for the world we live in today. Understanding its causes, its battles, and its consequences isn't just about remembering the past. It's about recognizing the fragile threads that hold history and our present together. If you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to HistoryPot for more history that moves you across time and borders. Share this with someone who loves learning about the world's defining moments, and let's explore the past together. Until next time, thanks for watching, and remember, your HistoryPot is your ticket to history. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for similar informational videos.